Again, a lot of people definitely want to know about how can you assist me, right, with my biggest investment. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Glenda. Y'all hear me call her Glenda Marie, right? That's just my name. I'm always giving somebody a nickname. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Glenda, but I do advise make sure you guys are taking notes because she's going to give a lot of great information this morning. Go ahead, Glenda.
Okay, thank you, Cordy. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. Again, my name is Glenda Dabney-Chillous. I've been in the industry for more than a little bit over 30 years now, and today we're going to talk specifically about down payment assistance. And so, now, exactly what is down payment assistance? So, by definition, it's a program that's designed to help home buyers with the cost of purchasing a home. And so it could come in the form of a grant, a loan, or even just simply tax credit if you've actually already purchased your home. And so, again, it's to help the first time home buyer. And you want to really think hard about what a first time home buyer truly is. It's, of course, someone that's never purchased a home. And if you probably own a home in the past, if you haven't at least had your name on a deed somewhere within the last 3 years. And of course, it's to help reduce the financial barrier of getting started with purchasing a home, because that's been one of the biggest things when it comes to purchasing a house, getting the money to start the down payment for purchasing a house. So today I wanted to go back a little bit and look back at the history of how down payment assistance got started. So, of course, in the early 30s, all the way through the 60s, you have the first part about down payment came through the Federal Housing Administration. And of course, we call it FHA. So that got established back in the 1930s because people weren't purchasing houses back then. And so the hard thing was, it wasn't credit because credit didn't even exist. It had nothing to do with purchasing a house, it was just the money part of it. And then, of course, at around a couple of years later, you have the GI Bill. And the GI Bill, of course, was for the veterans after fighting wars and coming back homes to families with no place to go. They needed a way to purchase a house as well. So the GI Bill was created. Again, another area that we still currently use today. And so there's a lot of things that happen in between, but I wanted to fast forward to the 2000s, the era that I pretty much started selling real estate in. And so you have different types of down payments that came into play. Different presidents did different things, but each year, money, millions of dollars, we're talking billions of dollars that go into funding down payment assistance. And so when you look at the different eras of like when the different presidents came into um, became into office, they had to find ways to get money to families. So each year, that fund is replenished every single year to help finance and get people into homes, especially in the underserved community. And so when you look at history, so probably I would say in the early 2000s, around 2003 maybe, you have President Bush that did a down payment thing. He called it what was it called? It was called the American Dream Down Payment Act. And so the goal, of course, was to help over 40,000 families each year across the country with down payment. And then you want to fast forward to when President Obama was in office. And so when he got into office, if you remember, the market crashed around 2008. And so he created a fund called the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. Now, this was, of course, because again, the country was in a recession. We call it the Great Recession. And so, to help, not only did he bail the banks out, so I don't know if anybody remembers if they had a house during that time, they were bailing out all of a whole list of banks. And the job that the banks were supposed to be doing was to give money back to homeowners. And then you had other people that still foreclosed during this process. And so, to help revitalize the community, the banks then the banks would then go ahead and have to, I'm sorry, the down payment assistance program would go up to around $25,000 to help cover the down payment and closing costs for most of the consumers. And why that happened is because, again, a lot of houses were lost during that time. And so we had to put money back into the community. And this is one of the ways that it was done. And so if we fast forward to back to when the pandemic happened, another funding happened. And so those types of things that was going on throughout this country. And so when they do the funding, they have to allocate the money to different states, to all of the states across the country. And so, because in this example, like the state allocation for California, say for example, I'm not sure what year this was, I can't remember, but $200 million was sent to California specifically for down payment assistance, and Texas. Everybody got their portion. It was based on the population of that particular state and how the housing market condition was and what the need was for that particular state. And then you have other organization where some of the funds trickle down to. And that's where you're going to find some of the 25, you see the $25,000 down payment that's available to that just pop. I call them the pop-up surprise funding that comes to the states. And so you'll have the lenders, they're calling all of the agents. I know I've gotten several of those calls asking, do I have buyers that need down payment money? Of course I do. And the race was on to get your name, your buyer's client name into the bucket to get some of this money, because these particular fundings, it would run out pretty quick, you know. And so getting their name on the list, it didn't stop from there. I always tell my buyers, when you're getting into these programs, time is of the essence, because if they're not into a house, or at least closed on the property, or at least pending, they might lose their place in holding on to that $25,000 that might be available to them. And so what would happen is the organization would do this sweep, and whoever hadn't closed in a period of time, who hadn't at least got a contract pending or something, would lose their place in line, and they would have to wait a couple more months, because then after they've gone back through, they're going to recalculate and see if there's some money, more money left and available, and then you might see it come back up again. And so these type of money, it was just come and go really, really quick. But keep in mind, there's always going to be some type of funding on the state level that's always going to be available. It's very rare that those particular programs would run out of money. And so now, how do you get to this money? I like to go over the standard requirements when it comes to getting into the down payment assistance program. You can't, we love our first time home buyers. Let me say that very clearly. But, you know, when you get people, when I get buyers and they tell me, oh, I'm a first time home buyer, great. I need to go into a whole lot more detail, and then they find out if they need down payment money, because they think the title of being a first time home buyer comes with a lot of perks. It does, but you have to be prepared for these particular programs, or any, or purchasing in general. So the first standard requirement is going to be your income. Now that income can come from, of course, your W-2 jobs, and if you're self-employed, you're 1099. And then, of course, you can also count child support and SSI benefits. All of those are considered income. And, you know, I do have, you know, recently one of my agent friends was working with a person, and she had some additional, and she had SSI benefits, and she had some additional income. But unfortunately, that income wasn't verifiable. You know, it was what we call paid up under the table. That is the kind of money that's not going to be counted as income. It might be income to that person, which is fine. But when it comes to purchasing a house, it's got to be very well documented income. And we get people that have child support. And again, another area where people want to have it done under the table. And I know parents want to give extra, they just don't want to go through the system. But if you're trying to purchase a house, you're going to need some type of document showing where that money's coming from, right? Okay. So on this chart, we're talking about your typical down payment assistance. They typically work what we call an area medium income. And I'm going to see if I could switch the screen a little bit. I hope I can get to it because I need to show you um, the uh, the area medium income. Can you all see that? I switched the screen. Can everybody see that? Okay, good. Okay, so the area medium income, I'm just going to pick an area. I don't know what area that is right quick. Let's go to North Carolina real quick, if I can get to it. Let's see here. Okay, sorry, it's moving so slow. Okay, let's try about 3 areas so you can see this calculator here. So if I go to Charlotte, okay, we're going to see the area medium. Okay, can you see my calculator? Nope. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to pull my calculator up. Okay.
Did you want us to calculate something for you,
Yeah,
Glenda?
you can calculate it. I was trying to bring the calculator up too so you could see it as well. Okay. So the area medium for I put Charlotte, North Carolina. It's 86,300. So that's going to be the medium. And so most down payment assistance will allow up to 120% of income. So, and we talked about in my post, we said even 6-figure people can qualify. So, if you're going to find a program that is going to go up to 120%, you can have an income of $103,500. Okay. Now I'm going to let you guys see the next one and get the right screen back up. I'm sorry, you guys, I hadn't mastered that part yet. So, okay, let's try another area. Let's see. Who do we have on the phone? What area are you in? Do we have Texas in the house? I think we have Texas.
Yes.
Okay, we got Texas. Okay, so Texas right off the bat, their area median, and this is based on maybe a 4-person home, family home, maybe 2 adults, 2 kids, something like that. But it starts off with an area median of 107,300 as their medium income. But if you're doing down payment assistance, it says that they could go up to 120%. So put that in your calculator, 107,300 and multiply that times 120% and tell me what you got. What do we have? Can we get an answer? I know Crystal's driving. Did anyone calculate that?
Yeah, they're in the chat. It's 128,760.
Okay, very good. So you could go as high as 128.60 on a down payment assistance program. And so, but this chart that I'm using is the Fannie Mae area median chart. And so they already have, for those that are interested in the home ready income, you cannot go over 85,840. Okay. So those are as far as income, you could have that kind of income and still use the down payment assistance. So that's pretty good, you guys. Okay. So the next area that you need to be concerned about when it comes to down payment assistance is going to be your debt to income. Okay. So this is a big thing. Um, Most down payment assistance will take 36% up to 45%. Okay, so on an FHA loan, your DTI can be as high as 43%, and then the conventional loan as high as 36%. So a little bit less on the DTI. And so let's do some calculations. Okay, this is going to be simple math. Simple math. Okay. So if you take your monthly bills or debt, divide that by your total monthly income, that's going to calculate your DTI. Just simple math. Okay. So if we use in an example, let me get the calculator again. I don't know if you could see it, but take your calculators out. Let's say we're working with a buyer that say has a monthly debt of, I'm going to say $1,500, and then their income is roughly $3,500 a month. What is the percentage that you're going to get? If someone can tell me in the chat or just tell me. Any volunteers?
It was 42.
42.
42%.
Okay, I got 42.8. So round up to about 43%. So that's kind of tight for a DTI, right? But that person will still qualify to get into a down payment assistance program. Now, say you're looking for a house, but you got this bill collector calling you to collect on $300. I'm here to tell you, go ahead and pay that $300, because what will happen is if you take that $1,500 that you normally pay for your regular bills and add that simple $300, because again, you're in the process of buying a house, they're going to want that whole $300 right up front. So that's $1,800 now that you're working with, and you're working with the same income. And when you calculate that, how much are we looking at? 1,800 divided by $3,500. Did everybody get 51% or 51.4? So roughly 52%. And so if your maximum DTI is going to be 45%, guess what? You just knocked yourself out of the down payment assistance program because you decided that you're just not going to pay this $300 bill. Okay? So that's usually a big issue when it comes to not only a loan, but also down payment assistance, right? And so when that happens, you got your DTI going up. And so the next category, of course, is going to be your credit. So while your DTI is going up, your credit score is going down. And it's guaranteed to knock it down 30 points. And so when you're working with a down payment assistance and they want your scores to be anywhere from a 620 to a 680. Now, those 680 credit score down payment are typically with your banks, such as your Wells Fargo's, your Bank of America, because they have their own products and programs that they could use down payment assistance program. They very rarely, in fact, I don't know of them to use any of the state given down payment assistance. They don't touch any of those. They only use their products, and their products may come in the form of a 100% type of product. Okay. And so you're going to need a higher credit score when you're working with a bank. Okay. And so when you're again, we can work with an FHA of a 580, but it's very rare that you're going to find a down payment assistance that's going to be able to work that low. Okay. So let me get to my next screen here. I hope this is good information. Okay, so next I want to talk about, as Cordy said in the beginning, down payment assistance is generally just that, unless they say otherwise, that you could use it towards your closing costs. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, these are the other costs, and it's just a few of them that you might run into when you're trying to purchase a house. If you're not, if you have a savvy, I'm going to say a savvy agent that's going to write for sellers to pay some type of concessions to you, then these are the fees that you're going to have to come out of pocket for. And if you look at that appraisal fee, now appraisal fee is one of those fees that's going to have to be paid on the beginning. The rest of this list can be paid at closing. Okay. And I also added, because of as of August 17th, some buyers may have to contribute um towards the real estate commission, real estate commission for your buyer's agent. And that's okay. If you have a savvy agent, they'll know how to put that into a contract where it really doesn't affect your costs at the table, if you have a savvy agent that knows how to write that up. Okay. And so next, let's go ahead and get into what here at 75 for All, what kind of down payment assistance program that we offer. And it's the EPM Empowered Down Payment Assistance Program. And so we already talked about what our standard requirements are. When it comes to any down payment assistance, everything I showed you should be for every down payment assistance across the country. But here, we partner with Texana Bank, and this is a program that we offer. So we're going to talk about that it's a forgiveness grant. They do allow seller concessions, and I'm going to talk about what kind of eligible properties that we work with and what the borrower's requirements are, and of course, the credit score. Okay, so this down payment program is specifically for the FHA loan, and it is a nationwide product with the exception of the state of Washington. Okay, so it's a forgivable loan covering grant. I'm sorry, not loan. Let me make sure I say that right. It is a forgivable grant, and grants typically you don't pay back. There are some grant programs that do require you to be in the house for a period of time, but this one, it does not require that you be in the house for a period of time. They will forgive 2% or 3.5% of the purchase price. Okay, because down payment assistance is based on the purchase price. Okay, and then in combination with up to 6% seller concessions for the closing costs. Now, of course, that of course depends on the type of loan, but we know, well, I'm going to say FHA will allow the seller to give up to 6% concessions towards the closing cost. Okay. And then, of course, there's no restriction on resale. And basically, what that says is if you go into the house and you live in it for 2 years, and then you decide, I'm going to sell my house. Well, this particular grant is not going to come back for you and say, hey, you owe me the difference because you didn't stay in the property longer than whatever period of time. There's no time limit on when you could resell your house. Okay. And so the next is the eligibility criteria. Borrowers, of course, can be a first-time home buyer. They can be a retired employee. So basically, all areas, any borrower can get this particular program. And of course, we showed you how the income works. So they will go by that. And if they happen to cannot find the correct income for you or is not on the chart, they have this other website geared toward the underserved census tract. And so I didn't go into that particular one, but that's another area that they look in. And it's just a few little pockets that they may have to refer to that particular website to get information from. Okay. And so the type of property that's going to be eligible, you have the 1 and 2 unit primary residence. So for example, you could actually get a duplex using this down payment assistance program. But the requirement, of course, is you must live in that second half of that property. And then you have the manufactured homes, so your mobile homes. But when it just says your manufactured homes, but please understand, this is not for a really battered type of mobile home or what have you. It does need to be in a really good condition in order for it to qualify. And then you have the FHA approved condos. Now, I know you're thinking, I mean, it's not against you with the loan, it's for the actual building, the condo that you're trying to purchase. And what can disqualify? There's so many things that can disqualify, but the two top ones that I could think of is from the owners of the condos, the individual owners that may have not paid their HOA. So you get some if and they hit, when they hit that certain percentage or threshold of owners that have not paid, that building now is no longer qualified for FHA. And then you have buildings that have too many renters in the building. That can also disqualify that building for running as an FHA building. And so when you're shopping for a condo, make sure your agent knows, number one, that you want to look at a condo because that loan goes a little bit different. And also when they're getting ready to show you that condo, make sure that they're aware before they show it to you that this building will or will not go FHA is very, very important to the loan. Okay. And then, of course, the type of transaction is going to be, of course, for purchase only. This type of down payment assistance program is not for those that are trying to refinance or rehab loans or anything like that. It's strictly for a purchase only. Okay. So the parameters are it's only for a 30-year fixed FHA loan. And then, of course, we talked about the credit score. They will take a look at the 580 credit score, and they will go to the investor to see if they will be willing to work with you and get approval for it before it's actually referred. And then the medium score, of course, is going to be a 620. They will go ahead and refer those particular individuals with that score to the investor to go ahead and get the down payment assistance. And then here's that favorite DTI. This product will let you go all the way up to 49.99%. That's a lot of debt, you guys. And so I don't recommend it because any little thing can throw your, as we saw in the calculation, can easily throw this off. So you want to make sure that you get your DTI down, pay off the bills, or get into a credit plan, whatever it takes, so that your DTI is not looking this tight because it could shut down a deal completely for having credit this high. Okay, and then again, this product only works with FHA. So FHA 203B, that's going to be your standard loan, no extras added to it or anything. This is going to be your basic FHA loan. And then it works with the FHA 203K limited and standard. What that is talking about, for example, if you are approved for 300,000, we're going to use that as an example, and you find a house for say 275, you got that $25,000 or up to $25,000, say if you need to have repairs done. And so they could factor that in and say and probably make like a second loan so that you can go ahead and have your repairs done that you want, or you could do any type of upgrades if you end up with something like this, and they will allow it. And so, and then you have the FHA repair escrow. This is for those of you that need like minor little things for no more than $5,000. And what I typically do, if I run across something where I've got to do something in escrow, I typically have the attorney to hold the money and say, give two checks. The first check for them to make a deposit with the contractor to get their materials and what have you. And then the second check to be issued after they've completed to your liking. So and again, this down payment will even work with that if they have that on the contract. And again, this product is will not work with your other loans, such as your conventional loans, your USDA. It's strictly only for FHA. And then also it says other down payment programs. This is not one of those down payment programs that you're going to be able to stack with other down payments to help you get the funds that you're going to be needing um, with your product here, your program. Okay. Oh, I finished sooner than I expected, you guys. Okay, so that's all I have. I kind of cut it a little bit shorter than I had planned to. I thought I was going to be talking a little bit longer. So, but again, thank you so much for coming. My name is Glenda Dabney-Chillous. I'm a licensed real estate broker for the state of Georgia, as well as I hold license in the state of Alabama, and I am a 50 state loan officer. I'm going to turn it over to Cordy at this point. Thank you.
Linda, thank you, thank you, thank you. That was so much amazing information. And I hope you guys took very, very good notes. Because as you see, when it comes to knowing if a client is going to qualify for that DPA, guys, it really is going to depend on a lot of different factors. Actually, I had a client that because their income was too high, if I didn't know what to do in the very beginning as far as understanding the median income and the percentage and all that stuff, and I would have just sent it in for a DPA, they would have been sadly turned down for that. But because, guys, once again, we're constantly educating ourselves, we're constantly learning just the different programs out there that's going to work best for our clients. We're always looking at things to put them in a better situation. So thank you for that information. Does anybody have any questions? Put your questions in the chat because I'm just like, great, 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 great information. Put your questions in the chat, guys. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, Glenda, you're getting a lot of great informations in the chat.
Uh-oh. I'm trying to scroll through.
Okay,
Okay.
Terry said, thank you. This was very helpful in helping me understand DPA.
Okay.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Does anybody have any questions about the calculations or anything like that? What is the Fannie Mae website?
The Fannie Mae website, let me see if I can cut and paste it for you guys. It
Okay.
is the Fannie Mae. Um, Let me see if it'll let me click on it.
Area median income lookup tool.
Yes. I'll put that in the chat. There you go. Did it go?
Let me see. I don't see it
It's
yet.
not letting me do it. I don't know why.
Okay. So you guys just take a snapshot of that. It's the Fannie Mae Area Median Income Lookup Tool. If you just put that in Google, it'll pull this information up
Right.
for you,
Right.
right? Because this is going to be a website that you will definitely want to look at, especially if you are looking at
Oh, I'm sorry.
guys eventually becoming a loan officer. For those that are on the call that want to become a loan officer, this is something, a tool that you're going to definitely need to use. Is DTI only calculating your monthly bills or everything on your credit report?
It's a combination of both, because your power bill is not typically on your credit report. So it's going to be all of your expenses, your monthly expenses is what it's going to calculate,
Thank you,
including
Madam.
those that are on the credit. Okay.
Great, great, great information. Okay, Madeline, guys, dropped that. She did drop the link,
Oh, good.
in
Thank
the
you, ma'am.
chat. Yep.
Mhm.
So you guys just make sure you copy and paste. But guys, we didn't want to take up too much of your Saturday morning. Glenda, you can go ahead and stop recording.
Okay.
We didn't want to take up too much of your Saturday morning. Right. We just wanted to make sure we got this information. Next week, guys, we're gonna have a